So, who wants to open the questioning? Do we have any questions for our speakers? Quite a diverse range of presentations. Yes.
This is to the Northern Territory speakers. I'm just wondering how far an effort would go to alleviating the problem of having full-time staff employed within your area if universities gave opportunities to rural and remote candidates rather than maybe international full fee paying students.
Thanks for that highly uncontroversial question. Certainly, yes is the obvious short answer, is that it would make a big difference. And we're certainly aware of Newell's going to respond as well, I think. Certainly a number of the universities do have what I'll call quarantine, but that's probably not quite the right word, places for students from the Northern Territory, which are very effective to the extent that I think anecdotally I've heard of people who are creating a PO box in Darwin just so they can try and get in that way. The other thing, and again, I guess the issue for us, particularly in the Territory, is not just around the university entrance. It's with our dental assistant training. The Department of Health and Families has just become the only registered training organisation with dental assistant training in their scope in the Territory, which we've done because of the obvious gap. So from the beginning of next year, we'll be starting to train DAs and also be able to provide an RPL process for our existing staff, and we'll also hope that will actually form a bit of a recruitment incentive as well for experienced but unqualified staff. So, I mean, we are at it's not just around the dentists and the therapists. Yes, we have shortages there, but we have at times had to pull clinicians away from the dental chair and give them a project to do for a few days because we actually literally have not been able to provide a dental assistant. So across the board, the staffing issues impact greatly, and I'm talking about the Territory, but I'm sure it's exactly the same in other remote and other areas of Australia as well.
Thank you. Newell Johnson. I'm here in my capacity as Chairman of the Council of Deans of Dental Schools of Australia and New Zealand, so I think that provocative question from an ex-student of mine deserves an answer from me. Andrew's answered it very well from the point of view of most of the members of the dental team, and as a university educator I believe in the whole team, and as a Griffith graduate you are part of the team, and you know that the philosophy of Griffith has always been the family that prays together stays together, and we seek to bring many of those professions within the university sector, going back to your presentation right from the beginning. So you asked a question about universities, and the answer is we do, and you know we do. So I wonder why you actually asked the question. And the challenges here are partly as Andrew has described them, but it's certainly not a competition between overseas students who will pay full fees. All of the dental schools in Australia are very keen to have students from rural and remote and Indigenous backgrounds. There's been a distinction drawn this afternoon between rural and remote, and Indigenous, of course, has its own special challenges. The Australian Dental Association has scholarships for people from rural and remote areas in Australia to facilitate this process. The particular challenge is with Indigenous students, and all of us in the tertiary education sector would love to have more Indigenous students amongst us and more Indigenous professional graduates. But there are opportunities and there's special funding. But there is no point in setting people up to fail. And as a group of heads of schools, we've been really quite clear that lowering the bar to entry is not the solution. The solution is getting back down the pipeline and identifying people interested in the health professions who can be brought almost from primary school, but certainly from secondary school, to be successful university students. So the answer, Neda, is we do it already.
I should qualify, I didn't just mean the university sector, I meant across the board, because there are obviously people within areas that they will always go back to because it's their home base, and if there's the opportunity, if they have the ability and the want to go on to further education, I think we're in a position to be able to facilitate that more.
So with the DA training, we're establishing, initially we'll be doing school-based apprenticeships with the intention of targeting particularly the Indigenous students that are at the boarding schools in Alice and Darwin, in the hope that, one, when they return to their community, we'll be establishing a local workforce, and secondly, by getting into their heads that the concept of being an oral health practitioner while they're still in their final years of school, which again hopefully will lead them on to some of them taking an interest in further studies in that area.
Yeah, I think there's some very important points there around articulation of skills and also getting people interested in the industry very early. And okay. And particularly in rural and remote areas where there's a real interest in the workforce, and having education be attractive to retain the local workforce.